First of all, before I ask anything, thank you very much for joining us today. It was your birthday yesterday, so happy birthday one more time. My first question would be, I'm very interested in your color theory. Yellow is happiness, but you're also often bored by it. Red is feeling strong, but also being in total panic. Is there more to that color theory that you can go into? Why don't you like green so much? What does green stand for?
I think green is just like nature, and I like mixing colors. I think red and green like creates really great contrast, and I like yellow and red as like a primary color, and green and like blue other colors as like a secondary colors. And there is like much more towards like how I feel about colors. But I think just like really important thing is I am not afraid of colors, and I know what it is to be afraid of like using that like purple that I never used. But I think spending time with colors will make each like person be really like getting used to what it is like. I think everyone has like a different opinion about colors. Yeah.
Would you say that you're very playful when you create?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
like, using watercolor is a decision that you made early on, and it's a challenge because I think some of the papers that you paint on are very saturated in water, so it's very unpredictable how the colors will collide and flow into each other, and it's a very elaborate process. The first question actually should be, how large are these pieces typically, and how long do you take to finalize them?
Right. I think they're not that big. They're like 9 by 12. That's like a size I feel comfortable with. But I also done like really big watercolor pieces for like paintings, and for like editorial work, I have to work really fast, and that is like a skill that I had to like learn over the time. And for me to finish like editorial work, it takes only like 4 hours. Yeah, but also I had to like wait for it until it dries and also like scan them in. So that's like a time too. But I think I work way faster than like I would work in digital, because if I worked in digital, I would sort of like try to make it look like watercolor, and just the time of making look like watercolor takes way longer than for me to just like color them in.
Mm-hmm. Well, you seem to have very friendly and thoughtful clients because they trust you. They know your work, but because like seeing the sketches that you send them from Photoshop, they look comparably horrible. or like lifeless. All of the magic is gone in the sketches, like with these flat Photoshop colors. And then the client can understand, okay, but what I will receive is going to be this very magical rainbow. And but how did you convince them, or did they just trust you?
I think the art directors who just like want something different like approach me, and actually I can talk about like emailing art directors. As soon as I graduated, I just like had like a spreadsheet of like art directors, and I cold emailed like so many of them, and actually none of them like replied back. But like the art directors I never like was like like courageous enough to like ask, they will like ask me, and none of the art directors I like worked with in like New York Times, I never emailed them before. They like sort of like knew about my work, or maybe someone recommended me, and they come like knowing that I'll make this watercolor art. Yeah.
We had Jing Wai yesterday. She said that she was working with lip prints, and she thought she could never do that for editorial work because it just takes too much time. So she felt liberated by Photoshop. You're going exactly the other way, but now that you said it only takes you 4 hours, it kind of makes sense. I thought it would take you much longer. But how long did you feel comfortable doing watercolor for editorial work, knowing that it's so much?
No, like I was like freaking out when I wanted to change digital to watercolor, because that means I can never go back with my mistake. And I think first, like when I like draw and like there's just like one thing I'm not happy with, that means like and to finish like one editorial arc, if they have like more than one day deadline, like I would just like start again. And first like year, I was just like starting again, like from like blank paper, and like I will start like 4 times again if I don't like this one thing. And I think that's how I like learn to draw better and quicker. Yeah.
Okay, my last question before I open it up is like this playfulness of it, this joyfulness of it is very childlike, it's very naive in a way, and using all of the colors and rainbows and hearts and boyfriends. But at the same time, people labeled you as this psychedelic thingy, and do you notice, is there a difference that you notice of when children look at your work and when grown-ups look at your work? Do grown-ups see something else in children, or?
Yeah, I think grown-ups sort of, like, I mean, everyone is grown up here. I think maybe are a little bit like scared of like my work. While like I show my work to children, they're like really like obsessed, and they really like it because they love like rainbows, and I think they just like look at it as like, oh, like Heijin just like draw these like stuff, while like maybe like grown up think like, how does she draw this, or like question like the process behind, and what is this symbolize, what is this? Yeah.
Is there a question from the audience? Is anyone here?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, with the use of musical notes and song writing, have you ever considered actually collaborating with a musician to interpret the doodle?
I'll just repeat the question so that everyone understands. Was this picture that you showed with musical notes and in watercolor, have you ever considered cooperating or collaborating with a musician to create music?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. But with music notes, I can explain a little bit more. I like grew up like just like with like music and like learning music, and I was just like never really good at it, and that just like frustrated me. And but also sort of like music notes like major like sounds like C, sort of like to me is like color, and I don't know what it is, maybe like just like a sort of like scientific thing, but I also like label like music notes in like color, and I think I like really want to like in the future just like make a book about music and collaborate with musicians to like have like look at my music note and like make some music for me. So that would be like really nice.
There's another question here. You have to make like right there. Okay.
Hi. Do you do anything to commercialize your process so that client amends don't absolutely kill you? Do you like scan them in layers, or how do you kind of, if they have a request, you know, everything's been approved, but really that blue is making them mad, you know, what do you do in that case so that you're not starting over?
Can you just repeat the question briefly? If you work commercially and the client wants to make changes, like this blue is the wrong blue or stuff like that, do you have some kind of technique of layering the colors so that you can easily, did you prepare for this situation, or does it even happen?
Yeah, it actually happens a lot. And I think actually maybe like art directors really like my work, but sometimes editors don't. And often I got my work like called as like it's too scary, it's too weird. And like especially like the eyes, the way I draw eyes are just like so like there's too many things going on in the eyes. They just want it to look just like normal. So that like case I'll just like draw eyes, like different eyes, and just like Photoshop them. So I think like with colors too, it's I just use like tools in Photoshop to change them. And I think actually like learning digital like art class was like really important for me to be able to like change these like asks to like make edits. Yeah.
One more question maybe? I don't see, okay, so what, down here first?
Right here you say there's a lot of passion that you have in your process. Has there ever been a time when you felt no passion?
You talked about that you have a lot of passion for your process, and it's very emotional, it's you, it's like self-portraits. Was there ever a time where you didn't feel any passion, or you doubted it, And how did you overcome that, if you ever had that time?
Yeah, I think like if when I like overwork, I'm just like tired. So that's like one thing. But I don't know. I think actually maybe my like day jobs are like tiring, and those are not my passion. But with illustration, I think I sort of like, even though if I get like a client that says like, oh, draw about money or draw about this like political situation that I don't really know, or like I don't know about this person, what they're talking about, but I sort of just like, I like read a lot about like the concept or the article, and just do a research to like connect myself into these like problems and what do I feel about these problems, and that's sort of the way I make it just interesting for me.
Do you embrace little mistakes when they happen? Like if the watercolor goes the wrong way, suddenly the water just kind of and then
Yeah, that
oops, it's
happens all the
green.
time. Yeah, I think I really embrace the mistakes, but I think just because I like used them since I was very young, and I sort of like became like really good at it, and I was so frustrated with this medium. It's just like so unpredictable, and there's so many options, like what sort of paper do I use, what sort of brush do I use, what color do I use. There's like unlimited options, and I think I like really learned like what works for me by just like keep like trying.
There was one more question here, I think. Was there? Yeah, okay.
I know your work for a while in school, and I just as an outsider that didn't know you personally, I always liked your style, but in mouth presentation, I didn't realize the concepts that you had and all these crazy narratives with your perfect personality. So my question is, are you more passionate about the style and medium that you actually use for work, or about the concepts and ideas that you think of?
Okay, I'll just repeat. He knew your work, this Mr. knew your work before and always admired it. So, but when he wasn't aware of all of the conceptual ideas behind it, and it kind of blew his brain now. He's really, this is your biggest fan. But, but what was the question?
I was wondering if you're more passionate about the style and medium in watercolor, or are you about the concepts that are
Are you more passionate about the medium, the watercolors, the medium, or the concept behind it?
I think I can't really measure it. I am really passionate about both, and that's not really what I think about when I make pictures. Like it just like comes like all together. Like it's not like, oh, like what about this one? What about this one? I just like I just like do it, and but I think like they both like help me a lot. Like, oh, I had this concept, but watercolor will make it look really nice and just make it look more childish and make it more fun. Or, oh, I had like this skill like watercolor, and I had this like, for example, like a really like simple like concept. I had like a tomato, and I think with watercolor I make it like super interesting. So that sort of like both like concept and skill really like fit in really well. Yeah.
And why do you like eggs?
Because because they're delicious, and I think they're really pretty, and it's one of my like first food I remember. So yeah, I think it just like represents a lot of things.
I guess. You've been told. Yeah, well then, thank you very much for all the lovely guys.